Hey guys, let's walk through a exchange rate exercise. And I want to use a simple example, but also point out along the way some of the key terminology and math mechanics that we need to understand for Chapter 9. And also, this is going to be useful if you work in an accounting or other function that deals with international transactions. By the way, if you've ever done travel from another country to the US or vice versa, then you have probably done some of this mental math already. And I invite you to kind of latch onto that experience because it's what we're going to be walking through. So imagine that we are sitting in Jersey City with a wad of US dollar cash in our pocket, and we fly to London. And we walk into a shop, pick up a pair of sneakers, and we say, "I want to buy those sneakers." But you see the price tag has a squiggly looking L and a 90 on it. That means that those sneakers cost 90 pounds. Okay, 90 British pounds. So we are a US dollar person looking to purchase something stated or valued in a foreign currency. That's at the crux of Chapter 9, that kind of a transaction. And the key question here is, how much in US dollars do I need to spend for the sneakers? We want to learn how to compute that. And to do that, we need to understand a few things and a few terms up front. The first thing is that we are dealing with two functional currencies. We're dealing with what's called a domestic currency, which is the US dollar. Okay, we are the person and are like kind of analyzing this transaction, and our home currency, meaning the currency sitting in our pockets, is US dollars. And we're also in a foreign country looking to purchase a product valued in a foreign currency, and that currency is called the foreign currency unit. So we're going to see in our book and in our homework that we have USD, and that stands for US dollar, and we have FCU, which is a foreign currency unit. Okay. Now, next thing we want to note is that we can have an exchange rate. An exchange rate is the value of these two currencies in relationship with each other. The exchange rates fluctuate all the time. The value of one currency versus another is established through lots of different factors. How we come about these values is not so much the topic of Chapter 9 as much as what we do with these values. So I want to point out here that in this example, I am giving you this 1.5 as our exchange rate value for this example, and it's the direct exchange rate. Now, I say direct because 1.5 represents and I'm going to kind of explain. I'm going to read how to read this number. I need to spend $1.50 or 1.5 US dollars to access 1 British pound. Okay, the ratio here is very important in how it's presented. You can see here 1.5, I have in the header here, USD FCU. And what that's saying is 1.5 US dollars to 1 foreign currency unit. You can imagine this as a fraction as well. Remember, ratios are the same as fractions. So you can, if it's helpful, imagine the ratio instead presented as 1.5 over a 1. Okay, so 1.5 as the numerator, 1 as the denominator, with 1.5 as US dollar, and then the 1 denominator as the foreign currency unit. That's the direct exchange rate, okay? The indirect is simply taking the inverse. It's simply taking the 1.5 over 1 and flipping it. If we do that, then we get to a 0.667 value. I invite you to do that math, and you'll see that 0.667 is the inverse of 1.5 over 1. And what that is saying is a British person can spend 0.667 pounds to access $1, okay? It's also basically saying 1 functional currency unit divided by 1.5 US dollars. The math here is something I invite you to kind of sit with, take out a calculator, use Excel or Google Sheets, and kind of run through the math on your own. For now, what I want to do is I want to just point out, number one, it's very important that you look when you're presented with any data, how is it being presented? It's typically going to be presented as a direct exchange rate for purposes of your homework and also for some of the real world exercise we're going to look through as part of the learning in this chapter. But you should note that sometimes you will get data that's presented with a mix of direct and indirect rates, and you need to know to look for it, okay? And that's where this ratio kind of header is going to be super important. Now, what do we do with the rates once we know what we're dealing with? With a direct rate, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to multiply. You're going to want to take the direct rate and multiply the foreign price times the direct rate. For an indirect rate, you're going to want to take the foreign price and divide. And you're going to see that we come up with the same US dollar value in either case. Okay? Hopefully that is clear. Let me know if not.